Ao Oni version 2.0 is a rare beast in the movie world, in that I don't actually know what it is. See, it's directed by someone else and features an entirely new cast that share the names of the people from the first movie, which would imply that it's a reboot of the series, to be more in line with the plot of the game. But it's called version 2.0, which definitely implies that it's an upgraded version of Ao Oni, and reboots don't often reference that they're reboots. So this is what I think. In the last video, I mentioned that there's a series of light novels set in the Ao Oni world, and the major through line of this series of books is that every time they succeed, the game resets and starts over. And if you remember from the last movie, it ends saying that the next level is loading. I don't think that this is a reboot in the normal sense. I also don't think that it's supposed to be considered a straight sequel. I think it's just another loop of the game. And honestly, I love that idea. Since starting this whole thing, I've read several of the books, and it's a very interesting kind of chain how this all happens with each loop. That being said, what is Ao Oni version 2.0? It is, like the first one, a story of a group of high school kids who end up in a building referred to as the jailhouse and are hunted down by a large blue monster. Unlike the first one though, instead of being there after committing a heinous crime, they're just there to livestream their investigation into the rumors of a large blueberry monster that kills anyone who enters. This movie definitely takes several steps back from the first one. As I said, Takado is no longer killing people, he's just a school bully, which still sucks. And there's a lot less gore this time around. No organs just around, you know? And while the first movie featured a single monster hunting the kids, this one takes from the game different designs of the creature, including the fan favorite Blockhead, which adds some nice moments, even if I don't find them ever as creepy as the first one. I will say that if you liked the first one and want another excuse to just unwind for an hour and enjoy some monster nonsense, this is definitely worth a watch. With all that being said, let's get into the review. The movie opens with a text box informing us that there's been rumors of a monster appearing at an abandoned building on the outskirts of town, and we then join two kids as they investigate the house, and the boyfriend is eliminated in pretty short order. And we get our first look at the demon as he attacks the girlfriend. The next day at school, Takeshi and Mika wait for Takado at the library as Takeshi goes over images of them bullying Shun, before Takado begins scrolling through the pictures and comes across a photo of Naoki and deletes it in annoyance. As Takeshi and Mika discuss the rumors of the blueberry monster, Takado decides they're going to go investigate it at the jailhouse. From there, we join Anna as she stumbles across Hiroshi. All the characters are rocking their game attire and hair, by the way. And they discuss that Shun has stopped going to school, and she hoped that Hiroshi would be able to talk to him since they're friends. But Hiroshi comments that they only really talk about the game he made. Before they can make their way to Shun's house, Hiroshi is distracted by a butterfly and begins to follow it, leading them both to come across Takado and Co. as they enter the jailhouse. Hiroshi continues to follow the butterfly as Takado begins after him, until he's reminded of what they're there to do, and the gang makes their way into the jailhouse, leaving Anna outside to go find Shun. Once they enter, they somehow find Hiroshi in their ranks, but he's still entirely enthralled with his butterfly, and refuses to leave until he finds it. Takado, meanwhile, begins his live stream, promising to reveal the monster. Takeshi immediately begins to panic and tries to leave, but finds that they're locked inside and their phones are stuck on the live stream. I give Takado credit here. He's actually a pretty decent host. If he was one of those cheesy ghost hunting show hosts, he'd be killing it right now. Takeshi ends up fleeing when he sees the demon through his camera phone, and again finds a closet to hide in, just like the last loop. Anna finally manages to visit Shun, and while they certainly still have a little flirtation between them, it's nowhere near as cute or as endearing as they were in the first one. But she does still show a genuine interest in the game, until she learns that one character is based off of Takado, which causes them both to withdraw into themselves. As Takado and Mika search for Takeshi, Mika stumbles across a screwdriver in a sink, and Takado stumbles upon the demon and immediately abandons Mika, even stopping to look at her as she falls and calls out to him, before leaving when he hears the demon approaching. I legitimately can't tell if this is the world's longest staircase or some kind of demon magic, because the jailhouse is only 3 or 4 stories, and Mika runs down several flights of stairs before falling over, and the demon catches up to her. She attempts to attack him with the screwdriver, and does actually stab it, but it seems entirely unfazed by the whole thing. As it consumes her, she screams out Takedo's name to no avail. Shun and Anna watch as the game informs them that Mika's screams were heard, and Hiroshi appears on the live stream, informing them that they're trapped in the jailhouse. Shun immediately puts together that the game and real-life events are happening in sync, while Anna tries to play it off as a joke before accepting the danger that her friends are in. Hiroshi stumbles across the demon, continuing to eat Mika's body before turning to chase him through the house. He manages to escape, but gravely wounds himself in the process before dropping Takeshi's phone, which dies, ending the livestream. Takedo manages to find Hiroshi and even treats his wounds before being confronted about leaving Mika behind to die. Before he can throw a tantrum, however, Hiroshi and Shun explain to Takedo and Anna that they're trapped in the game, and no matter what any player tries, Takedo, Takashi, and Mika always dies. Hiroshi tells Takedo that it's because they bullied Shun so much that he's made this, and Shun does express that he was happy that people were playing the game, because every time they did, those three would die again, but now laments that he seems to have made this a reality. Anna rallies him back by telling him how she couldn't save Naoki, because she was afraid, but she's here now, and they'll find a way to save the others. Hiroshi then explains that there's a game-breaking bug on the 4th floor that will reset the game, hopefully reviving Mika, but to get the key they'll need to clear the basement. Takedo seems unconvinced but goes along anyway until they split up to find the key to the basement. Takedo eventually stumbles across Takeshi, who seems to be near naked and covered himself in blue paint in an attempt to befriend the demon, before accusing Takedo of abandoning Mika to die. He then just lays into Takedo, telling him that everybody hates him. The only reason anyone tolerated him at all is because they were afraid of becoming the next Naoki, or Shun. Takedo seems genuinely dejected by this and leaves Takeshi to his own devices. The blue demon does end up finding Takeshi, still hiding in his closet, but then closes the door, seeming to have no interest in killing him, until the ghost of Naoki appears and scares Takeshi out of the closet and into the demon's maw. Hiroshi, meanwhile, appears to have finally found the key to the basement, and the two of them make their way down together. Immediately upon entering the basement, though, they are chased by the demon, who looks absolutely adorable when he runs. They manage to hide behind a gate and seal him out. Shun, however, seems upset when he says that Hiroshi had told him the basement was too easy, so he upgraded it. Here, Hiroshi and Takedo run into another variant of the blue demon called Blockhead, who moves rather slowly and once it gets a target seems to only attack in a straight line, which is really not at all threatening. He comes across another one but dodges it easily before noticing that if they run into each other, they fuse and become bigger. As Blockhead continues to grow larger and larger, Hiroshi flees, seemingly leaving Takedo behind, who smiles in acknowledgement that he would have left himself behind too. Hiroshi surprises him though by using a crane in order to crush Blockhead and save Takedo. When Takedo confronts Hiroshi and asks why he didn't just run since only one person needs to survive to reset the game, Hiroshi appears as though he hadn't realized this fact and promises next time he'll flee right away. They then come across the key needed to escape the jailhouse, but Hiroshi hesitates when he says that they don't want to escape. Instead, they want to go deeper in, before revealing a hidden code and gaining the 4th floor key. In Takedo's celebration, he notices that Hiroshi is growing weaker and slower as he bleeds out of his wound. Takedo does his best to support him as they discuss why Takedo has such a hard time expressing himself and trusting others. But Takedo exclaims that he trusts Hiroshi. Shun then seems to realize what is happening, and he and Anna make their way to the jailhouse. Hiroshi and Takedo finally make it to the 4th floor, but have no idea how to proceed. When they hear the demon coming for them, Hiroshi pushes Takedo away and tells him to leave and reset the game. Takedo does, and Hiroshi meets his end at the hand of the demon. Shun and Anna arrive outside to tell Takedo that he needs to leave the Omega door, which is behind the blue demon, if they're to reset the game. Takedo manages to make his way past the demon and open the doors, exiting and resetting to the moment before they entered the jailhouse. Takedo seems to have retained his memories and experiences from their loop, even though Mika and Takashi do not, presumably because they died. He then goes off to find Hiroshi, who also seems to have forgotten the events inside the jailhouse. Shun and Anna, though, watch from the sidelines, and have also retained their memories, expressing joy at Takedo's growth. We then fade to credits. But wait! There's a stinger! Takeshi is hanging outside the jailhouse, mocking Takedo for backing out, before seeing the ghost of Naoki and asking why he haunts him instead of Takedo. But instead of an answer, we're shown an enormous blue demon climbing over the jailhouse, attacking Takeshi. Where do we start with this movie? I guess the obvious question, is it better than the first one? And I think that all depends on what you're looking for. If you want more gore and killings, then no, not really. Most of the kills take place off screen except for a handful, and there's no real gore to be found in this one. Does it feature better stories and characters? Kind of. While Takedo and Hiroshi are explored a lot more, and Takedo has turned from a borderline serial killer to just kind of a dick and does receive a redemption in this story, I still greatly preferred Shun and Anna's relationship from the first one and wish they had kept those actors and their chemistry at least. So, no. Overall, I don't think it's as good as the first one, but I still think it's a pretty solid watch and still definitely recommend it. The second obvious question, will there be any more of them? And the answer is, unfortunately, I don't think so. The first one was released in 2014 and this one was released in 2015. And while I don't think that movies with an annual release are a good thing, going 6 years without a new one is also not a great sign. For comparison, the entirety of the Werewolf series has happened between the release of the first movie and this video. It's unfortunate because the light novels have several more entries and seem to follow the general outline the movies were laying out, but even those came out 3-4 years ago, depending. But I mean, check those out if you're really invested in the overall plot. There is one more Ao One movie, but it looks really bad, so I'm probably not going to watch that. Check out next week, though. The werewolf game Inferno will be out, so that'll be cool. I think that's going to be it for this one. It's a little short, but so was the movie, so I think we can call it there. Thank you all for being here with me. I love you all. Good night.